every mermaid. It's all in me. Anything you want done, baby, I do it naturally. Rise and be magical, wild ones. It's Bernadette, and I am here with your bewitching Pick a Card Daily Tarot reading for Sunday, January 30th, 2021. This chakra is the crown chakra. The sun is going to bring clarity and illumination. And you already know the card because, sing it with me, I'm every mermaid. It's all in me. Here is what that means for your absolutely crazy, you're going to be spellbound. See where I'm going with this? Bewitching, magic, spellbound. I have been waiting for this card to come out for you all ever since this started. I'm so excited, and here's why. So, it's interesting because yesterday we were talking about the chameleon and how, generally people have a very narrow view of what chameleon can mean in their life or for their life as a spirit, totem, and power animal. And I have long maintained that mythical creatures, including humanoid mythical creatures, can be a spirit, totem, and power animal because humans are animals. Now, if we were classified something else, we would not qualify for a spirit, totem, or power animal, but we're animals, and so Bernadette maintains that we are and we do. So I find the same about iguana or chameleon, where there's it's like a soundbite, right? It's like Twitter symbolism. You get 160 characters and think you know about a spirit, totem, and power animal, right? It's about femininity, it's about sexuality, it's about, the mystique of the sea, the water element, the emotions, and all that. But it is so much more powerful than that. Mermaid symbolism and meaning takes on such a broad scope as regards the sacred feminine, and here's why. When there is a name attached to something, that gives rise to, I believe, almost a different thought form of that person, of that place, of that thing. Or at least it expands it greatly. So while we know the term mermaid, the etymology of that name is from the 14th century, which is mermaid, however they would have said it with their accents, M-E-R-M-A-Y-D-E, and that means maid of the sea. But the Old English word was similar, which was merwif, which actually is water witch. And then other people call them angels of the sea. And there are a few other names that are given to mermaids, and of course there are mermen. But at the end of the day, that gives the divine feminine, the sacred feminine of the mermaids, so many different faces and opportunities to be that woman. And let's face it, there's a little witch inside every woman, right? Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I also own and publish witchcraftandwitches.com. And I'm putting forums on there, just like the Gathering of Mystics forums, and they're coming. And that community, for those of you that resonate with that, that's all about really old world shamanism and healing with herbs and, people that work with spell work and ritual and just, magic and everything having to do with that community will be there. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. We're almost there on that one also. And the point of bringing that into it is through, toss a coin and you're going to hit symbolism of the mermaid, meaning of the mermaid. Everything uses the word bewitching or magical. And in that, there is the light and the dark. There are people who thought of them as the angels of the sea. If a sailor should see a mermaid, that was an omen that there was bad weather ahead or great weather ahead. Some people thought it was lucky, like their wish would come true. Others were like, okay, not only is there a bad storm coming, but we're never going to make it to land. There are just so many different interpretations of that it leads me to the point that mermaids are just, they're just such a powerful omen of we can do or be anybody that we want to be. And we can embrace any kind of energy that we want. If one day we're feeling like angels, okay, great. There are all different kinds of angels. There are warrior angels, there are healing angels, there are, there are a million different kinds of angels. There are a million different kinds of witches. There are a million different kinds of women. And there are a million different kinds of, men that have, feminine energy and women that have masculine energy. We talked about this about a week and a half ago, that everybody's got something of each in them. So when I take a look at today, Sunday of all days, when it's about your crown chakra, I feel like I'm being drawn into past lives. So the I'm every woman or I'm every mermaid, I really, really strongly, powerfully I please listen when I believe what we're all being told is, listen, it's time to explore some past life stuff. It's time to, poke around in our Akashic records. It's time to get familiar with the previous versions of self. And in that, you can also project yourself forward. You can see what future versions of you will look like, not just past you. Now, because the water element obviously is so heavenly, is so heavenly tied in with the mermaid, this would be just an amazing day to do that, because you're going to feel all the feels. All that information is going to come right through your crown chakra. And it's going to really take a deep dive, no pun intended, but pun intended, a deep dive into why you are the way you are, why you have the actions, the reactions, that kind of thing that you do. Now, it also is going to tie, mermaid is going to tie you very heavily to deities. Venus, who rules love, she's got a thing for the sea, and the sea goddess like Calypso. She's like a woman who can't be tamed. And that's really all about this, is whatever the sacred feminine is inside of you, or whatever part of that you want to access at the moment, it's all available to you like that, because it is you. Nonconformity is a really big thing about mermaids. It's kind of why I was like, man, I'm just feeling the call of my ancestors. So I got in a little bit of my gypsy wear today. Not in a cartoonish or carnivalish kind of way, but to honestly pay homage to my ancestry that were very seafaring, seagoing, sea living kind of people, and with very, very deep ancient roots of, tarot and psychic, and being the seers and the soothsayers and the fortune tellers, and, all the water in my chart. This reading, honestly, I don't know if you guys notice I'm using one hand mostly. It's because I've got my other hand on the desk so I can kind of ground myself. Because it's a big job, you guys, to step into the energy of all of you all at once, and take a swim through and just kind of feel what everybody or most of you will be beneficial, and then shuffle the cards and then draw a card based on the flow of that energy, which is another thing that shows you what mermaid is capable of. There's a tremendous amount of pressure under the sea. Under the sea, take it from me. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be singing every Little Mermaid song. I want to be where the people are. You got thingamabobs? I got 20. So it's a call that you can be in a very pressurized position, but still maintain your femininity, still be just so strong that that pressure doesn't buckle you in, and that you're able to navigate the deepest emotions with ease, and spread your magic along the way, right? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen it. Well, Ursula the Sea Witch, right? Okay. She's about the only mermaid I've ever seen, other than like private art, that nature of thing, that is a more buxom, more Zaftig kind of mermaid. But I got to believe there's a million of them out there. And you can be anything you want to be. And so whether you're a newborn, or you're 95 or 105, or you're a size 0, or you're a size, 30, or whatever you are, every woman still does live inside of you. And there is a tremendous amount of sacred sexuality that goes on with the mermaid. And a lot of that has to do with the sensual side of sacred love, of sacred sexuality. It's more about a sensuality, right? It's more about, you know how you might get dressed up to go out to dinner, or you might be going out to a date, or just because you wanna, and you just, everything on you feels good. You feel good from the inside and out, and you've just got this really carefree kind of way of walking, this sway or swagger even. You've got a serene or a bold kind of, you know, kind of look on your face. You'll only come out at night, the lean and hungry type. It's that's what it's a call for, is for you to own that sensuality, own your magic, own your emotions, and help others to do the same. Remember, fish travel in schools. And so, you know, we won't even go into the subject of Atlantis. I absolutely believe once upon a time there was an Atlantis, and I absolutely believe it still exists somewhere, somehow, in some way, in some form. Totally believe that. There's why this energy comes up now, I believe. And also let me say this. The artists will often depict a mermaid with a fish comb, right? So she can comb her long, beautiful locks, but they're made out of fish bones. And then another thing that's always equated with mermaids are mirrors. They do a lot of magic in mirrors, which in the in the witch community, in the Wiccan community, and parts of the pagan community, well, really everywhere, they call it scrying. There's a big call for you to pay attention to your reflection. What are you reflecting? Now, that can easily tie into empaths, because empaths are so sensitive that sometimes they don't understand that they're acting as a mirror. And so somebody might come away from them thinking, why were they acting so afraid, angry, or happy, or whatever that is, because they're reflecting you. And oftentimes, what empath or not, oftentimes we reflect as a deflect. Let me say that again. We reflect as a deflect and maybe don't even know it. But someone can come away from a conversation or this or that with us and be like, I hurt my feelings, or man, I feel really energized, right? So be careful about what you're reflecting today, of all days for sure. And be careful that you're not deflecting the very things that you actually want to bring into your life. Now, back to the fish comb. Let me just say this. When you start talking about bones of something, of a living thing, you're talking about the time before time, the time before you were born. And remember, our full moon was just a few days ago, right? And that's all about new beginnings. You may still be feeling the after kind of undulations of that. But your bones are created right after, it's like one of the very first things that are created, right? And if you think about the seas, the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, even the streams or the creeks, they are kind of an amniotic fluid symbolizing birth, and being able to gestate that whatever it is in that womb and hold it safe in all of that fluid. So you may very well be being called by Mother Gaia to do some work to help clean up the oceans, help clean up the rivers, help, the seas, whatever, in whatever form or fashion you might do that. Now, all of that said, it's important that if you do happen to tap into a previous life of yours and find that you were, anything, you could have been a spiritual leader, you could have been a cook, you could have been accused of being a witch and burned at the stake, you could have been the medicine woman of your tribe, of your clan, you could have been the warrior prince. This can go on and on and on. You could have been the keeper of the children, a teacher, this, or that, or whatever. Whatever happened to you in that life, it's being brought up for you today, so that if you need to access that because the energy of that is so something that you want in your life now, or you're being called to heal that because you've been carrying that trauma through many lifetimes, this is the lifetime to do that. If you're watching this video and you are, I've got to believe that at some point, you know that's not a coincidence. You were guided here by spirit, right? It's the time to do that. Maybe you've thought about doing these kinds of things, this past life regression, or accessing your Akashic records and healing your DNA, maybe even doing some, oh gosh, what do they call it? It's where you work actively within a circle to help heal the whole family. And it's a really cool thing if the whole family get constellations. It's called constellations, where it's thought that everybody in the family is a different constellation in your galaxy, right? Or in your space. And whatever that is, it will cause you to access the past, even just as recently as yesterday and as long ago as the time before time. So when you do that, do it with the intention and the readiness to be able to look at those things, really accurately assess them, and then integrate that into your life now, however you're being called to integrate that. So I hope that was helpful on this Sunday. And I just have a magical Sunday, you guys. Sprinkle glittery dust all over the place. Throw some on your cornflakes. Put some little extra sugar and then shine a flashlight on it and watch those sugar crystals sparkle. There are a million ways that you can create magic, so find yours today. Above all else, you know what you got to do? You got to stay wild.